So now I'm going to invite the second speaker. The research is post-structural possibilities in architectural design. Deconstruction as a strategy to start architecture of post-colonial knowledge and ideology. I would like to invite the presenter, Mr. Rupasinghe R. Please come.
First of all, I must say that this topic is somewhat related to what Mr. Mahesh was speaking about earlier. Something contradictory, something related, and this was a. First of all, I must say this study was conducted as a position establishing work that I have done for my final year CDP design thesis. So I will go very fast, and this is, I must say, this is a bit abstract and a bit philosophical. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, and I will go very fast and just to limit this to 10 minutes. So philosophical trends critically impacted the architecture as they did in many cultures, cultural and political impacts in every historical period. Postmodernism emerged in the late 20th century with many philosophical influences, including existentialism, posthumanism, and more related to this topic, post-structuralism, deconstruction, and postcolonialism. Deconstruction played a vital role in questioning modernist terms and later influenced an architectural style. However, deconstruction is a strategy to reveal violence in existing texts. Text means in architecture, in literary text, in music, in any text you can imagine. And I am doubtful that deconstruction provides a solid ground to start architecture the way it did in the 80s, like the picture below shows. That was a building by B. Tyson-Mann. The above is the Venturi House by Robert Venturi. It was not deconstruction, by the way. The ideology that colonists, and then I'm really applying that into a post-colonial situation in Sri Lanka. The ideology that colonists planted in colonies still haunted today. Many practices, including architecture, have remnants of coloniality. Coloniality means that as a fact that it is still continuing. My question is, can deconstruction be useful in exploring the violence in architectural history practice in post-colonial state? This article explores the possibilities of that. Post-colonial scholars and subaltern studies group recognize that the colonies tried to recognize themselves compared to the people and cultures in their colonies in a primitive frame compared to their supposedly modern and civilized status. In other words, as they are others. That is quite philosophical. Please ask me if you are not really get that. Applying this in architecture helps to see the violence in architectural approaches. Most commonly, architecture considered good architecture in the third world starts with a problem, both in practice and in schools, while appreciating scenic buildings in the global north. This establishes a norm that the architect's job is to solve problems in a world where an architect's capacity for social reforms is questioned in the 60s, according to B. Tyson-Mann. And it is a proof of continuing colonial othering. And I bring this example, and I must say that I am here not to accuse this particular architect or similar practices in Sri Lanka, India, or any other, or even in Europe, but I'm just bringing this example to see how this colonial mindset works. Anna Heringer's project is an example of continued coloniality. She uses indigenous materials, technology, and labor to create architecture which the locals already have and have used it to generate their own architecture before the Western architects introduce that to themselves, if they ideologically need that. I mean, my question is, why, if the people in Bangladesh, this building is from Bangladesh, why the people really ideologically need it? Why wouldn't have they done it already before the architects from somewhere arrive there? So this reminds me of this Gayatri Spivak's, one of the most famous and influential post-colonial scholars. She has questioned famously the approach of British colonial epistemology, knowledge systems and things like that. And she asked this question in the very famous and influential work of hers called Can the Subaltern Speak? She mentioned that the specific term white men saving brown men, brown women from brown men in related to the British abolish of Sati Puja. And I'm here, I mean, as I was going through the post-colonial literature and also architecture, I was just like, I mean, isn't this a white woman saving brown men and women from themselves? So that was what I was asking. So deconstruction actually helps to understand that violence in logocentric traditions, even in colonial logocentrism. Deconstruction is a way of dismantling existing beliefs and norms. It's a strategy of critiquing the texts which are already deconstructed, where you feel like how it is. One of Derrida's, Derrida is the guy who actually they came up with the idea of deconstruction, a French Algerian philosopher. One of Derrida's main contributions is to understand the violence in logocentric worldview of Western philosophical tradition. Logocentrism refers to a core idea of binary understanding where one idea is privileged over the other. For example, white over black, male over female, etc. Sri Lankan architectural discourse is also built around logos, and it often privileges one over the other. For example, modernist aesthetics over nationalist aesthetic, the elite taste of beauty over the rural taste of beauty, what we call like iya gode like that. So the logocentrism always privileges one over the other. That gives a sort of epistemological power and violence, what Foucault says the epistemic violence. So my conclusion is that, can deconstruction be a position establishing method or strategy to start architecture, which means deconstruction is used to explore or expose the violence in architectural ideologies and strategies. So simply saying, this is sort of what I was doing, but yeah, thank you. That's it.